In the far north of Europe, in the Arctic landscape of northern Scandinavia, live the Sámi, the indigenous people of the north. In this shifting land of never-ending tundra, majestic mountains and rich fjords, they have always made their living. For as long as history can be recorded, the nomadic Sámi have traveled with the reindeer, fished in the sea, hunted game in the forest, and harvested the herbs and berries of the land. The Sámis call this land Mother Earth, the provider of all things. But their land is valuable to many. Throughout modern history, the Sámis have suffered under the colonizing reign of Norwegians, Swedes, Finns, and Russians. For centuries, the Sámis were discriminated against. Their music was made illegal. Their religious symbols and even their priests were burned. Their children were beaten for speaking the Sámi language in schools. Their whole culture and way of life was threatened with extinction. But the Sámis are a proud and strong people. To this day, you can still hear their powerful traditional music, the joik. You can still see them in their colorful native dresses, and you can still hear their precious language being spoken and passed on from mother to daughter and father to son. The Sámi persevered, and now they are again prospering. Today there is a new optimism in the Sámi culture. Traditions are being kept alive, but at the same time, new and inventive ways of expressing Sámi culture is being formed. The culture is evolving, even expanding. The Sámi culture is full of innovators, thinkers who move the culture forward. One of these innovators is investor and financial advisor Anders Andersson Labba, presently living in Stockholm, Sweden. Anders was raised in a reindeer herding family in Karesuando, in northern Sweden, and is a true native of the Sámi culture. Growing up here, he heard stories of how the Labba family land once had been bigger, how they had traveled with their reindeers all the way to the Norwegian coast and spent their summers along the fjords and on the islands out there. But at some point, they were blocked off at the Norwegian-Swedish border and was never able to return to the coast. For many generations, this has been a great sorrow in the Labba family. Anders had given little practical thought to the tales of their summer grazing land until a unique opportunity suddenly, miraculously opened. This is Nordkjosbotn, not far from the city of Tromsø. The Sámis called it Garakam. For centuries, Garakam was the gateway for the Sámi reindeer herding families on their travel from the winter grazing on the arid tundra to the lush summer grazing along the fjords and islands of the coast. One of these families was the Labba family, who moved between the winter grazing of present-day Sweden and the summer grazing of present-day Norway, until a border treaty in 1919 barred them from these summer lands. But even though these lands were taken from them, their hearts stayed here, in the fjords and mountains of their summer paradise. To the Labbas, the family stories of their summers in Garakam is a precious gospel to this day, kept and cherished. Since childhood, Anders had heard the story of how his forefather Nils Johnsen Labba was given a patch of land by the Danish king. This story of his forefather and the king always fascinated Anders, but it was only after a travel to the US that he understood the true significance of the story. Anders was inspired with the spirit and ingenuity of the indigenous peoples there. He was particularly impressed with the economic expansive thinking of Indian reservations, how they rethink the ideas of the indigenous and what is important for a nation to evolve and prosper in a modern political climate. Here he saw with his own eyes how economic growth strengthened the self-governance and sense of community on the reservations. Anders's greatest inspiration were the Indian casinos, found on reservation land throughout the US. These casinos are indigenous success stories. They are the story of strengthened economy and higher employment levels in the once underprivileged reservations. They are stories of increased funding for the reservation's self-governments. They are stories of increased feeling of dignity and self-worth. And not least, for the much-tested indigenous communities in North America, the casino adventure is a march for sovereignty and historic justice, is a real shot for freedom.
Back home I was starting digging, asking the elders in the family if they knew more about this land our forefather was given. But it was difficult to find out anything. Nobody really knew much, and I had almost given up when, I struck gold, you might say.
In a last desperate attempt, Anders went to Copenhagen to search through the Danish royal archives. What he found there was brain-racking. In an unprecedented royal resolution dating back to 1754, 3 years after the Norwegian-Swedish border was established, King Frederick V of Denmark, Norway, gives Nils Johnsen Labba and his family unlimited user rights for the land between the Saraside River and the Nils Olsa River in Garkam. From the fjord beach to the foot of the mountains, exactly where their carving land once was.
In Sami we have this old saying, Don it sirte etnama, enan dat sirte du. You don't move the land moves you. So it means you have to adapt. Also, we Samis need to adapt. We need to move with the land, with the world. And when I saw how they were working in the reservations in the US, you know, they have their own economy there, their own governance. And I thought, why can't we have that here? And this piece of paper, this resolution, makes it all possible. It was never retracted or made void. It's valid. It's valid today. Over there, the indigenous people, they use their claims to reservation land to earn money for themselves. They can do it because they are nations. They never gave away their right to be nations. This right was taken away from them, as the land was taken away from them. The land they are left over with, they decide for themselves. It is the same for us Samis. We never gave away a right for self-determination. It was taken away from us. We are still a nation. Now it is time for us to fight back. You know?
The land rights given to his forefather by the king was the perfect opportunity for Anders to start his bold adventure.
Good. Yeah, come on, you just have to... Up there, yes. You take the ladder,
A property on his ancestors' carving land in Karakam has been turned into Golden Ája Lapland Casino Motel, a luscious all-rights casino establishment beautifully set on the E8 highway, an hour's drive outside Tromsø. Here you can experience true Sami culture and heritage up close, at the same time as you are relaxing at one of our gaming tables or having a custom-made Sami drink at the bar. For Anders, it is vital that the casino has close ties to the Sami culture. For him, the casino is a way to tell the story of his people and to share their culture with others. It's a symbol of freedom. Freedom to build, freedom to create, freedom to live. This is the freedom Anders wants for his people. Therefore he has decided that a percentage of the gambling revenues at the Golden Ája shall go into a shared trust fund to benefit the Sami school in Kariswando, where Anders himself was a pupil growing up, and the Sami language education program at the local high school in Nordkjosbotn. Anders' ideas echo two famous Sami idioms. Young backs carry our future, and only he who gives is a true receiver. As a visitor at the Golden Ája, you can contribute to this project and have loads of fun on the bargain. Our website offers a range of products and tours from day trips to weekend packages. All travel packages include a return trip from Tromsø to the Golden Ája in one of our luxurious buses, and ample time at the casino for both gambling and taking in the culture. So sit back and enjoy this exclusive Sami experience. Don't be a stranger. Feel free to visit us at www.goldenaja.com and book your trip today.